This playthrough is rated E10+.
Pizza power!
Greetings and salutations, viewers. Vauldemare here with a new series called How Many Quarters? A series where I try to beat an arcade in one sitting and see how many quarters it takes me to actually beat it. Obviously, I've not been putting actual quarters, I'm putting in, electronic quarters that don't exist, but this is back from a time where, where to get a lot of your fun with, other than doing B16? Huh. Anyway, oh yeah, they're teenagers, so of course they'd all be 16 or 17 or whatever. But back in the day, if you didn't want to do stuff like work on a farm or whatever, one of the ways to kill time was to go to an arcade and spend your hard-earned allowance. For those of you who got allowance, I didn't really get access to allowance till years later when my family just wasn't living on a food stamps. But let's start talking about that as we play the game. My first game we're gonna do Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Konami, the arcade cabinet. This is the 2-player cabinet. There's a 4-player cabinet, but I mean, I'm not playing with anyone, so there's no point. So we're going to start with the first Turtle, Leonardo there, the leader of the group.
This is April O'Neil reporting.
Hey, Krang! Bring that statue back, you bloated beanbag!
Well, it's supposed to say Big Apple 3 a.m., but we'll get to that eventually. Yeah, this is the arcade version of the game. Now, one thing you'll immediately notice is that the sound is quite different, and the animation's a lot different too. As you can tell, it's smoother. Quite different from the console version of the game, which you could get on the... well, not to get started, are we? Okay, so we're at 1 quarter right now because I have to put 1 to go in. But interesting enough, the game gives you 2 lives per quarter. I could swear it used to be like 1 life per quarter at the time, but maybe it's this cabinet specifically or something like that. Yeah, I'm trying to remember when this... Well, I think it said it's copyright when it first came out, but I don't know if I played it when it first came out or years later. I think it might have been years later. When we went to go to the arcade, but I remember being young, wanting to go to the arcade quite often because I was one of those people that didn't like hanging out with your folks while they went clothes shopping or whatever. So I'd always, the lure, the arcade, the noises that it made, the jingle jangle, the clanging, the kind of like how people get addicted to gambling machines. Same thing. I was addicted to all the colors and sounds and everything like that, and this was one of many games that I played at the arcades. And of course each arcade had some theme or arcade cabinet or whatever. Obviously most arcade cabinets came from Japan because it's the ones who were initially utilizing it. Although there were for a few American companies that did arcade cabinets. Not too many though. No, there's Krang right there. Apparently Krang is the size of the Statue of Liberty. Who knew? I didn't think he was that big in the show, but he was pretty big. Although I think he was able, in the show, I think he was able to grow, kind of like Rita Repulsa. Make my monsters grow! But I don't know, it's been forever since I watched the original cartoon, which is what this game is based off of, so it's not based off the movies, although interesting enough, they do have a reference to the second movie in here, when we get to it. And I think if I remember correctly, this game's a little bit shorter than the console version of the game. Because I think you can beat this game in under an hour. Baxter Stockman, the scientist who, gene spliced himself, or got oozed on him and turned into a fly. Probably got the worst out of all the enemies in the game, frankly, to tell you the truth. He's one of the easier bosses because he hardly counterattacks you. As soon as you do enough damage to him, he drops his gun and grabs like a fly hand, gooey hand or whatever. The guy who created the Mousers, and it was basically the tech guy for Shredder and Krang or whatever. I think we only got to see his human form once or something like that, either the beginning or something like that, and then obviously he didn't turn back. So. Oh, I could have grabbed the pizza. Nah, it doesn't matter. You get your HP filled between each battle. I I wonder who that is. I like the fact that there's kind of a semi-mystery on who that might be, you know, when you fight next. Also, for those who are aware of the console version, some of the enemies are different from the console and the arcade version, and there might be different arcade versions that have different enemies. I don't think so, but you never know. Because like I said, I'm playing the 2-player cabinet, not the 4-player cabinet, which I don't think was much different other than, obviously, yeah, you could use the barrels there to blow stuff up. I don't remember this arcade game being too difficult, though. I mean, obviously at the end it starts getting a little cheesy, but better start to utilize it. Yeah, there's a special technique you can do in this game to try and like clear it. You know, it's the only problem is that it uses your HP if you do that. Also, we don't want to fall in that hole there. Can't help it. I remember one of the ways to like
Pizza time.
Better grab pizza. Ah.
This cave is creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, too bad they didn't get any of the voice actors from the cartoon to voice. At least they don't sound like the characters from the show. I could be wrong. Maybe they got one of the characters to do it, but most of the voices don't sound the same, especially when you hear Shredder. It's not Uncle Phil from Family Matters, so it looks like some. I forgot what those are called. I don't even know if those are in the show or not, but those are probably obviously Baxter Stockman creations, even though we already took them out. So yeah, we'll see how many quarters it takes me to beat. Nope. Okay, I got stuck. Yeah, one of the tricks to like doing this, if you get it right, is just no, was to like jump kick, but it doesn't work all the time. See, they get you. There's one life, but I'm going by quarters. Now, how many lives it takes me to beat this? So. I think when I was a kid, I could beat this in about $5 worth of quarters. So we'll see. I'm just assuming this is the $25 cabinet or 25-cent cabinet, and not one of the 50-cent cabinets that they had. Oh, those are heinous because they cost so much, and yet you probably died the fastest on those out of all the arcade cabinets. You know, they were usually like really high-end games too, like Virtua Cop and actually even a lot of the fighter games like Virtua Fighter and stuff like that were 50 cents sometimes, depending on where you went. Although I think it was based on the arcade too, because some arcade places would turn them into the. Because I think if I remember correctly, you could program the cabinet to have a different amount per machine. But anyway, we picked this pizza up. Yeah, it's a special like spinning blade ability, which is cool. We might end up using our first quarter here pretty soon. Although I got pretty cheap earlier, so I'm not surprised. I have to make sure to get that pizza before we. Although it's meant for the boss, which is most of the levels in this game aren't very long. This game you can beat in about an hour. Most arcade games were that, like an hour to 2 hours. It was designed to not. You weren't supposed to spend all day in an arcade. Up here's a Mecha Turtle. I forgot his actual name. He was created by Donatello. I think it was later in the franchise, like you know, because they need help fighting like everyone. So one of the episodes, Donnie makes a mechanical turtle to help the group with crime fighting or whatever. I don't remember. Obviously, he's not an enemy, but I assume in this case he got. Actually, I think in the show, now that I think about it, I think he did get hacked or something like that, where they made him fight them. But I don't remember all the details. It's been forever since I watched the cartoon. I only remember bits and pieces of it, frankly, to tell you the truth. It's because it's so long, man. Yep, he's already at this first wave mark. There's like the first wave where he's like weak, or where he's like, you know, regular life and glowing. I'm trying to glitch him. All right, that's the first. I have to make a. I'm making a note of how many deaths or not deaths, how many. Let's switch to Mikey, the cool dude of the group, the one who always. He's a party dude. If I can get the boss trick to jump, because sometimes you could just jump and strafe him, and that's how you get them, but it didn't always work. Of course, you're not doing. And of course, if he's attacking, it might not work. I think usually what you want to do is get like a couple of like 1 or 2 shots per thing before he counters you. At least by not immediately beating him, we're seeing all his different attack patterns. Caught me in a loop, dude. Uh-oh. I don't remember Donnie programming that into you. Oh, we're so close. I'm trying to see if I can beat him without losing another life. I'm not that great at these types of games. I'm not great at these types of games, so the point is just seeing how well I can do it without like playing this off screen to try and, you know what I mean? I don't play these games like before I record. Well, I play like the first level before I record just to make sure the recording setup works, but I don't actually beat the game without, uh-oh. Old arcade explosions. Oh, we used 2 credits so far, so not too bad. Sewer Surfing. It's probably one of my favorite arcade, or say one of my favorite soundtracks. Not of all time, just in an arcade game. Oh yeah, that's a very classy. We're down here in the sewers. Oh no, there's some ninjas down here. There's not. That's not the worst thing that can be down here. Pee poop. Yeah. I don't know what the actual wording is. There was a guy on YouTube a long time ago. I think he still does stuff every once in a while. He's like a musician that did like with lyrics stuff. I think his name was like Brennel Floss. I think his name was like Brennel Black was his actual name or whatever. He did a song. Oh, there we go. He did a song about sewer surfing or whatever. Although I mean, he's not the only one, obviously. Oh yeah, and the things that are fighting us, those are alien pizza monsters. I think Mikey made them by accident. I think he was trying to make like the ultimate pizza, and I think like the mutagen or ooze or whatever got mixed into it, and it ended up forming these like pizza alien things. Geiger was not thinking about this when he designed the alien monster in the late 70s, but now it's being used for parody. Yeah, I think that if I remember correctly, the Turtles cartoon did do a lot of parodies. So, oh yeah, the famous My Toes scene. You get something like this in the console version, but I think it's highly. There's number 3.
Shell shock.
I have to go into a calculator to tally this, otherwise I'm gonna mess up like how often I change it. Let's go to Donatello. He does machines. You know, it has been a long time since I've done a Turtles game. The last one wasn't the one based off the 2010 franchise, 2010 series, and then before that I did the one by Platinum Games, which I remember both those being okay. Obviously they're 2 different games because one was a beat 'em up and then the other one was more of a platformer / beat 'em up. The only thing I really remember from that is I had to like edit a video where I cut out the intro song and the thing because Nickelodeon copyright struck me. It wasn't a claim, it was a strike, which means like if I got 3, I would have been out of my hair or whatever, which was kind of a jerk move. I'm one of those people that doesn't care about getting claims on my videos because, you know, obviously I don't have enough people, but this isn't like a money-making thing for me, so it doesn't bug me that much. But when it's strike, then it's like you're clearly wanting to kill my channel for some reason, which you don't need to. You can just say, hey, we'll claim it, or we'll immediately mute this like footage or something like that. But nope, it's a strike you. Actually, I've heard worse. I've heard other more popular places getting taken over because of that. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to beat the pizza aliens. Yeah, this level's pretty short. What the? Seizures.
I'm banishing you to a time warp from which you will never return.
Banishing up to a time warp? Can't we do the time warp again?
Prehistoric Turtlesaurus.
25, I think that's billion, is it? Or billion BC, wow. Well, they wanted us to get you out of your hair, yeah. Alright, I'm going, Splinter, jeez. Actually, something happens if you don't listen to Splinter, but I'll show it at the end of the game, because, like I said, you can beat this in about an hour. Yep, we're back in prehistoric times. I think this is when the game does start getting a little difficult. I mean, I've already lost a few lives to some cheapness already. Nah, this game's actually not the worst when it comes to cheap, like, arcade, like, tactics to kill your quarters. I played much worse when it came to, like, killing your quarters in, like, one go. Especially the games that, like, gave you put in your money or whatever, and you only got one chance, like, no other lives and one chance, and maybe even partial health or whatever. There was actually some arcade games that only gave you, like, health when you put in a quarter and not a life or something like that. So if you didn't put in enough quarters, you'd lose, and you died, you'd have to start over from the beginning. Yeah, so I'm doing this. This is one of the cheaper tactics to, like, not take too much damage. Oh, there's the I forgot what those did.
Shell shock.
Wow, I didn't realize I'd already lost all those. Alright, that's 4.
Red kick shell.
Okay, let's go to Raph, the rude dude. He's a serious boy. I forgot what didn't they used to work for? Didn't they usually would work with Krang or something like that? I'm trying to remember now. Yeah, it's been forever. I think they were later in the franchise. I think is what happened with those guys. Oh, I'm going Shredder. Jeez. Now, I don't think you ever run across their boss in this game, though. I think it's only the minions. Although I don't... well, like I said, I don't remember everyone, so I can't really talk about stuff that I don't recall. I mean, I could, but yeah, how long ago was it when I watched the cartoon series and all this other stuff? It was like the 90s, right? Man, it was so long ago. I was a youngin' back then. I mean, I'm not that old in the grand scheme of things, but, you know, bombs. Why has he got a huge mallet? What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, not the cheapest, about arcade games being cheap or whatever. There were some arcade games that were like $1 to $2. I swear they, like, you would die like almost immediately, and there goes $2. I almost never played those just because, you know, usually if I got allowance at the time, which I didn't get it all the time because when I was younger we lived off food stamps, so we couldn't really afford that luxury very often. But when we did, you know, you kind of wanted to. I usually ended up playing the quarter machines, not the dollar, 50 cents or a dollar. I do every once in a while if I knew I could do pretty well in it. One of those was I forgot they have like little animation dialogue for certain effects in the game, like if you're caught on fire or frozen or whatever. One of those games was Dragon's Lair. That one I could actually beat on a one quarter or 50 cents or whatever machine it was at the time. I got so used to memorizing the pattern when I was younger, I was able to beat it in one go, which would mean getting the lowest score because you got the way you got score in Dragon's Lair, but it was by putting in more quarters. Every time you die, you get points by like collecting. Oh, here's the boss of this. Now I don't remember this guy from the show. He might be just for. He might be just for this game or something like that. Although that'd be weird. Usually games like this usually utilize all the monsters from the franchise, you know, just to you know, call back. They're like, oh hey, remember this guy? But I do not remember this guy. He must be from Dimension X or whatever. I don't remember this guy being super bad, but I say that and then I'll die like 50 times. I think it'd be easier if I was. Oh yeah, he throws like goo at you. I could lose on. I could get hit on purpose. I'll probably end up getting hit anyway. But you get there's a line of dialogue you get when you hit from them, if I recall. I love the. Oh, I love the boss music in this game. By the way, nope, there's number 5. Sorry if I'm stopping for a second. It's because I'm actually, like I said. Alright, switch back to Leo. But I love the boss. Actually, the guy whoever did the music in this game did a great job. Like most of the tracks in this game are super catchy. Unlike the remake that they did, like actually it was quite a few years ago, that they did for like Xbox Live or something like that. Oh man, they butchered the music in that. I wonder if it's they couldn't get the rights to the soundtrack again or something like that. But it was not well done, dude. That was not. I did not enjoy playing that one at all. I felt like I wasted my money and I didn't even buy it. Maybe I could show it off one of these days. I almost thought about it as like a kind of a bonus video show off like all the different versions of this game at the first level or something like that. But yeah, maybe down the line something like that. But right now I'm just playing the arcade version. Looks like he's. Nah, I still haven't gotten hit by the goo. I'm afraid of the goo. I have to be careful. I was gonna say I have to be careful about like just like spamming attack, because that's usually how the enemy gets you in the game, is by just sitting there and pressing spamming the button. That's usually how you lost your lives in these games. Is you're not supposed to spam. I mean, you could do that to Baxter Stockman because he's the first boss of the game. Actually, let me see if I, since we're about to beat him, let me see if I can get hit on purpose with the sledge. Ah, come on.
Man, I just had a shower.
Okay. Yeah, I know it lost me a lot, but I wanted to show you the animation for getting hit by the sledge. Even though I already... I have to look up the soundtrack to it. I assume there's a couple people. Usually when I well, now I got hit by accident because I wasn't trying to. Usually when I say like a musician or whatever, or a person who composed the music, it's usually a team of people. But there's usually always that one character or one person that kind of is either the leader of the team or kind of the face of that group, like of the music group. You know, you got your like Yoko Shimomura's, your Tobu Uematsu's and stuff like that. Like they make most of the songs, but they still have a couple of people helping them as well, so they don't make all the sounds. But we tend to remember the ones that are kind of the head of that group or whatever. So where are we going to next?
Skull and Crossbones.
Oh yeah, I think it's in the console version of this game. Yeah, the people you fight here are actually Bebop and Rocksteady. For weirdly enough, the arcade version, you don't fight Bebop and Rocksteady at all, even though they're well known in the cartoon, which is weird. They added them in the, like I said, they added them in the console version instead. They took out the characters that we actually fight here in the arcade version. I guess is mainly, maybe this was supposed to appeal to the people who watched the movie, the second movie. I mean, oh, you'll know when we actually get there. I'll talk about it when we actually get to the. Oh yeah, this one has this map has some cheap stuff in it. Watch, give me a second.
Duh, my nose.
Yeah, the planks are loose or whatever. Yet they never hit the enemies; they only hit you. Of course they do. Oh, there's some fireworks. Well, actually, no, fireworks have been around for actually quite a long time in history. China had access to gunpowder for quite a long time. I think as early as like the thousands, I think. I could be wrong though. It's been a while since I've studied gunpowder. Man, look at that fluid animation when like you attack people or Leonardo gets struck though. That's why I like playing the arcade version, just because of the fluid animation. Not that there's anything wrong with the console version, because obviously you have to make restrictions and you have to do something to make it viable for regular people to play the game if they couldn't get access to an arcade or couldn't find an arcade or whatever in their area, which now most arcades in America are pretty much dungeon rings. The only time you actually find, oh well, that's number, I think that's number 6. Yeah, sorry, I have the coin operations keyed to a different setup, so apart from my controller, so that's why you hear like random noises of me clicking on the keyboard and stuff like that. I mean, I could have keyed them into the controller, but I didn't want to mess with the default stuff too much.
I feel seasick.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting to show off the unique strikes. The only reason I'm not doing that as much is that if you do end up hitting them,
My nose.
and I think they actually use the same voice for all the turtles. But you use a little bit of life. It's like that special attack, kind of like in Final Fight or any of those other hack and slash games. Although most of the arcade games I probably will be playing for the series. Oh man, I lost that one pretty fast. Most of the games I'll probably be playing in the series will probably be hack and slashes. I might every once in a while do like a 1941 or something like that. The only problem is that some of the arcade games don't really have an end. Like that's probably why I won't play Pac-Man or something like that, because that's all based on the board and how many points you can get in that board or whatever. What's up with the like? What's up with the crazy like Australian boomerangs? No, although I wouldn't be surprised if they had something crazy like that in Australia, just because of all the crazy things that live in Australia. You should look at like a list of all the flora and fauna that live in like Australia. It's pretty scary actually. You're like, oh man, wow, I lost that life fast. Man, I guess I just wasn't paying attention. Weak. I usually try to do a different turtle per life. At least the game is nice enough to give me 2 lives. Although this might be this cabinet. I know you could reprogram certain cabinets that like alter what it gave the person into it. But I never worked in an arcade, so I don't actually know how to program arcades. So I wanted to when I was younger. I was like, oh man, cool, work at an arcade all day. But no, I mean, although there were some arcade owners that really didn't do much at all, even if you had an issue or complained about the machine, they would try. I mean, there were some arcade owners that were. Wow. Now the game's starting to get into cheesy levels. Maybe if I stop jumping. Oh, we're at the boss already, though. Seems we. Alright, I'll try to save the food for when I'm about to lose my life. I'm leaving. Okay. Ooh, electric. I don't know if the lightning effects are going to look very good on there. What the? Tokar and Razor? You're from the movie. You're not from the cartoon. Yeah, these are Tokar and Razor, which doesn't. I mean, they're fine. But yeah, I don't know why they put Tokar and Razor. Or is it Razor? Well, I don't want to fight them. They're babies. They're nothing but babies. Or however I should have said in the movie. Although, yeah, you can kind of manipulate them by... Ah, no. Get to the left. No! Dang it. I was was trying to get to the life. Oh well. Oops. Dang it. Actually, I might keep playing Donnie just because range usually tends to work pretty well on these guys. If you can get them right, you can actually get them clipped and then like stuck in one spot with his range. Yeah, I wasn't. I thought the second movie was okay. I more preferred the. Oh yeah, sometimes they'll hit each other if you get them right. Oh man, I usually don't have that much trouble with these guys, but apparently I am this time. Yeah, I would have rather faced, because when you fight Bebop and Rocksteady in the game, they actually put on pirates outfits and try to when they attack you. So like Bebop's like I think Bebop wears the captain's hat and Rocksteady puts on like a first mate's outfit or whatever. But yeah, for whatever reason, the arcade port they put it to Car and Razar. Wouldn't it be better to put like Slash or whatever? The Raphael clone or whatever? Oh yeah, Tokar turns into a dog. Almost got him. Yeah, I think I've got him stuck because of Donatello's range. There we go. Almost done. Ah, well, one more cheap trick, huh? Yeah, I don't know. It's like, I mean, it's cool to fight Tokar and Razor, I guess, but you know, I don't know. I would have preferred Bebop and Rocksteady. I mean, I did grow up with the cartoon. My favorite turtle was always Donatello. You know, does machines, the intelligent one. You know, I always gravitated, even if I myself wasn't an intelligent guy, I always gravitate towards the intelligent characters. I mean, I have to think I'm above average, but nothing too great though. I don't think everyone ever wants to call themselves average when it comes to like intelligence or whatever. But anyway, where are we going now? Planes, trains, and automobiles.
Bury my shell at Wounded Knee.
Yep. And for those of you who are aware of the show, you can probably tell who that is. But anyway, oh, this is a really good soundtrack as well. The kind of the Wild West like train scene. See, this is Konami that did this, right? I think didn't they also do Sunset Riders? Because the music kind of sounds like Sunset Riders. I wonder if those are the same. Come on. Get off me! I have to use the throw him on screen. Although it's hard to get that to activate the like. What was that noise? Was that supposed to be the horse? Nice try on that, guys. You know, perhaps try a little bit harder with the sound effects, because that did not sound like a horse. Yeah, I don't know how you can. Like, at least in Final Fight, it's pretty easy to get the people to get grabbed and thrown, but here, I don't know. I feel like I always have trouble grabbing the foot soldiers and throwing them. But anyway, I'm talking about favorite characters, Donatello, yeah. But I think my little brother, who was more into more into Turtles than I was, he was a fan of Michelangelo. I think so. Anyway, I did ask him. It's been years. I think he's still into the franchise. I mean, obviously he's older and all the other stuff. So, but yeah, I think it was Michelangelo. Most kids gravitate towards Mikey because he's the more fun character outside of like, you know, because there was Leonardo, who was basically the leader. That's pretty much his personality. So a lot of people found him kind of boring. At least Donatello had like the machines and science and all this, and science babble and all that. And then Raph, people liked Raph because he was like the stoic type, you know, the rude dude, especially in the first TMNT movie. I don't. Dang it. Suffering a lot of lessons. Oops. That's 9. All right, now we can swap to someone else. Yeah, Raph here. The only problem with Raph is he always had the smallest weapons. Yeah, that sounds like someone screaming weird, not a horse yelling. Yeah, a lot of people didn't like playing. They liked him as his character in the show and everything like that, but a lot of people didn't like playing as Raph because he had such a short range. I mean, the size are pretty much up close weapons, but in most video games, you know, usually the person with either the quickest weapon or the greatest distance, which is probably why the spear is the most wartime savvy weapon to use because of its range. Yeah, especially it was hard to play as him, especially in games like the first NES game, the TMNT NES game. That one he's really hard to play as. Actually, that game in general is just hard. That's why probably a lot of people don't like that game. I mean, it's not the worst game. I don't remember beating it as a kid. I think I remember beating it later on, like when I had access to emulators. The reason I had to do emulators is because a lot of these games that are like franchise enabled, like these games right here, because of licensing fees and all this other stuff, they become inaccessible for legal purchase after a certain point, which is, I think that's dumb. You know, I'm one of those. I'm a big proponent. Whoa. Oh, I missed out on the pizza. Boo. She's the horse that has the neigh of a dying man or something like that. But yeah, I'm a fan of like keeping certain media and stuff like that alive. You know, even if it's not viable anymore as like a library of sorts. But games are like one of the last mediums that have been like ignored, mainly because for like kind of keeping a capsule of this thing. You know, because of licensing and stuff like that, certain games can just straight up be like destroyed or taken out of the market because some corporation, you know, couldn't work with another one. You know, which I think is bullcrap. But that's a whole other argument and discussion for another day. But anyway, yeah, you can't, because of that, you can't buy a lot of these games anymore. The licensed games or franchise games like this, or you know, TMNT, the Batman NES game. That game's awesome, but that game is hard. Maybe one day I'll play that one. I don't know. I don't think I could be in one sitting though. But although you technically have to because of the way the game plays. So, wait, does that guy have dowsing rods or something? Anyway, weird. Wait, there was a horse neigh, but then nothing happened. Oh, here it comes. Oh yeah, seasick if you get spun around like that. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, and no one, and there's been no like, I mean, there's been people who've been making libraries of these games just to kind of keep them in the public eye, or at least maybe not available, but they're tracking them like, hey, this was a thing, let's market all this other stuff. And there are like websites like Abandonware that try to save games that have been ignored by, you know, the communities and stuff like that. Whether they're, I don't care if they're good or not. I just want them to be accessible for those to have a hand at them, you know. So for those who didn't live in that time period, don't like miss out on possibly. I mean, that's why I'm glad like Nintendo and stuff like that have been offering the ability to buy some of their old games on their consoles. You know, because a lot of those games, you know, like, if you didn't grow up in the 80s or whatever, well, too bad, you know. But at least with the advent of them being able to buy the old games, you know, my nephew or someone that can try him if he wants to. Although he's more of a, actually he really likes Mega Man, so maybe not. I was about to say maybe he's not really a big fan of old games, but no, he really likes Mega Man. So, because I was about to say I think he plays mainly modern games, which is true. Interesting enough, his favorite games are like Demon Souls and Dark Souls and Bloodborne. And, actually, I don't think he's played Bloodborne yet. Anyway, yeah, he likes those types of games, which is they're great games. Like, he chose like some of the better games to like, so there you go. At least he has taste. Then again, I like some crappy games, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Ugh. Leatherhead, why are you such a jerk? I forgot. I think Leatherhead was a product of Booze as well. He mainly lived in the sewers. I don't think they fought Leatherhead too often. I think it was only like a handful of episodes, if I recall. Oh, no explosion for you, huh? I forgot. I think there is unique animation of the characters like idle for a little bit. Foot train. You really like feet, don't you? Alright, where are we going now? The future?
Neon Night Riders.
The future of 2020! Oh, God. Yeah, I should have recorded this last year. At least at the time of this recording, it's 2021, so. I kind of wish we had this world in 2020, because, you know, the 2020 that we had, sucked, to put it mildly. And I know it's a bigger deal than that, but, you know, like, and actually, weirdly enough, 2020 didn't affect me as much personally, but that doesn't mean it didn't suck for other people. And the vibe was definitely very poor. But I'm not going to talk more about that because I think most people want to ignore that. Although, some people say the year currently going on now might not be much better, but I digress. Anyway, Man, where's in 2020 we were supposed to have flying vehicles. Where's my flying cars? No flying cars. No flying cars. That was my issue with Back to the Future. Because wasn't that like 2015 or something like that? It's like no flying cars have been shipped. I think they really did think that the advent of technology would like just increase so much within like a. Because I mean, when the movie was made, that was like, you know, 30 years in the future or something like that. So you don't really think about that. Oh, whoops! I almost forgot to mark. Like that. That's 12. I'm getting pretty close to my estimate. I thought it'd be about $20 worth of quarters that would take for me to finish this. Which $20 is about 20 quarters, I believe, or $20. I mean $5. I usually, well, depending on how much allowance I got and whatever, I usually got pretty good about spending it and being able to like make my quarters last. And I obviously stopped playing the expensive $2, $1 machines. Yeah, I was talking about that with Dragon's Lair 1 and 2. Mainly 2 was the one I got really good at. But I think 2 is the easiest one out of all of them though, because at least in 2, a lot of the events were the same. And there was no difference. While in the first game, there was alternating levels and stuff like that. You didn't know if you were in the original level or the mirrored version of the level at the time. I mean, sometimes jumping around works, and then sometimes you just gotta go in and man, this life is not getting used well. Oh man.
Pizza time.
At least oh, come on. Let that guy run off. Who's there? It's a bird. It's a plane. It's brain in a.
Face the wrath of Super Krang.
Wait, aren't you supposed to be the size of the Statue of Liberty? This guy's actually, if I remember correctly, this guy's actually kind of tough. Like with how much damage he does. I can't remember only attacking like twice or something like that. Switch. Because usually want to attack this guy a couple of times and then move away so you don't get counterattacked. That's usually how some of these bosses work. Just don't spam the attack button. What are you spinning me, dude? Gross. Man.
Oh, shell shock.
That's 13, I believe.
Red King Shell.
I don't think it matters in this case who I choose, really. I mean, Donnie does help with his range. Whoops. I broke my own. Although, Raph is faster if I recall. Not by much, but because of his small weapon and everything. I guess I get used to being close quarters combat. I guess I'm beating him a little faster. Who hit me, brain in a jar? Actually, sometimes it's brain in a jar. I think one of the things I do remember about Krang from the original show is that he and I swear he and Shredder acted like a married couple throughout the whole show. Like, you know, I don't want to stay at Dimension X. I want to target or want to rule Earth or whatever. And of course, voiced by Phil from Family Matters, or Uncle Phil from Family Matters, which is funny in itself. If I talked about this stuff when I did the other games. I'm one of those people that doesn't like. I think a lot of people actually do this. A lot of I shouldn't run into that. A lot of content creators actually don't end up watching their old videos because either they judge themselves too harshly, or they don't have enough time to like watch their old stuff. I tend to do that too. I've only done that like a couple of times for like reference on something, but for the most part, I just ignore, or I mean, I go, oh, I did this. I try to remember if I actually did do that, but oh man.
Oh, shell shock.
Yeah, that's 14, I think. I think this guy might be the one making me lose it. I think this guy has a ridiculous amount of health, if I recall. Although I am only attacking like once or twice at a time, so. Stupid kick. How much life do you got? Well, he's supposed to be the size of a building. So originally, he is super great. I wonder, did the robot ever talk in the show? I don't think he did. I think it was just a cranky talk the whole time. Ah. Man. Oh! Oh, that's cheap, dude. Okay, so the game does kind of cheat you every once in a while. Not all the time, but it does. Oh, finally, we're at the final leg of the life bar. I think in the console version, or there's one version of this that actually gave you the actual life bar of the character, but I'm not sure which one. It might be just the console version, just to actually give you a life bar. Because in the arcade, you just kind of went by his, like if he was floating. Man, come on. Ugh. Ah, man, come on! Oh no! No, I think I bet he has only got like one shot letters or something like that. I might just spam it at this point. There we go. Jeez.
You're going to pay.
I don't own a credit card though.
Cowabunga!
I mean, I do, but the Turtles don't. They can play with the Turtle credit card. Works for Batman.
Starbase, where no turtle has gone before.
Ah, a Star Trek reference. Yeah, even further into the future. Ooh. First time we fight these things. They're not Mousers, though. Actually, that is the weird thing. We actually don't fight the Mousers in this game. I know in the original TMNT arcade game, because there is, I think arcade-wise, there was this one, the second one, and then I think this game, at least when it comes to arcade, and I think in consoles, I think this is the fourth game, unless you count Gemstone Heist or whatever it's called, the Sega Genesis one. I don't know when that one came out. I think this was come out at the same time as the Turtles in Time game, though. But that's a different game, actually, like just story-wise, who you fight and everything like that. And I think it's longer too, if I remember. Although I haven't. Last time I played Gemstone Heist was like a long time ago. It was like when I in the late 90s, early 2000s when I discovered emulation. I was really into playing like all these old games and stuff like that, which I still do. But you know, at a certain age, I was like in the early 2000s, I was like really into it. But that's because I think I didn't have a lot of money at the time, so I tried to find ways to like get my entertainment without costing too much, and that was one way to do it. Amongst other things. Nowadays, I have a decent amount of money, but I still don't have like a ton of money. But that's because I don't. I'm not one of those people that like. And I've talked about this before in many playthroughs where I talk about how I don't want to like kill myself, like stressing like 60 or 40 plus hour work weeks every day. Like yes, I could make a nest egg for myself by the end, but is it worth it that you like miss out on so much stuff or kill your health by that point? I don't think so. But anyway. Although if I was smarter about it, I probably would have learned to invest and all this other stuff, which I kind of have, but not to the extent that other people have. Well, we're getting close to my guess. Might go a bit over, but well, we'll chalk it down to rusty age or whatever. Although we're not too far off from the end. We're almost done. I think as soon as we get through this, the final area is actually a boss. Like it doesn't even go into a. I don't even think we have to score the final area. Actually, might be different in the console version, but oh yeah, I forgot to show like me having other things happen to me. I think there's another thing that can happen to you in this level too that I need to show up. I think it's when you get frozen or whatever, because I don't think I've shown the frozen animation. Because yeah, you gotta appreciate all the work that went into this animation. I'm definitely a big fan of like sprite art. I don't know why. I think it's because I grew up with this type of stuff, so there's something appealing to that style of art. Which weirdly enough, more people are more fans, or seem to do more art, 8-bit art than like later art, like 16-bit and stuff like that. Which I think 16-bit was like my preferred. You just punched me in the back of the head. What a jerk. I preferred 16-bit art. Like some of the best looking games were on the Sega/Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and yet most people don't tend to do games or art based off that style. Maybe it's because oh, there we go. Actually, I didn't. Whoops. He said I'm too cool or whatever. Or he said now I'm too cool or something like that. I'm actually not trying to get her. Oh no! Better get that life.
Pizza time.
Get that pizza time. Yeah, I shouldn't have let myself get hurt that much. Uh-oh. Balls of doom. No. At least they hurt the enemies too. I like it when there's actually things that hurt enemies too, not just the player. I think it's kind of cheap when there's stuff that just hurts the player, no one else. Ninja stars, even though that ninja stars weren't meant for damage, they were meant for distraction at best. Which I guess they're not doing a ton of damage, so I guess that's fine. Looks like we're on like Mars or something like that. Although we could be just somewhere in space, I guess. I mean, I could have saved it for this part, but I was about to say I seem to get lucky about flinging the guys, but I still don't know when. Ah!
Oh, shell
Now
shock.
there goes, what is it, 17? Yep. Man.
Electric shell.
Swapped out. Yeah, too bad those lasers aren't hurting me. Although, if I remember correctly, the boss for this level actually isn't that bad. I mean, I might still die, like, lose a life to it, but I don't remember it being as bad as, like, some of the other bosses. Like, almost as easy as Baxter. And Baxter was pretty easy. I don't even think I lost a life to him.
You shellheads are dead.
Oh no, this is... How do you know it's the last area? Because it's an open area. You can fight the boss. Ah. Okay, this... I think it's this part that's kind of difficult, is the scene where he summons, like, droids or whatever to hurt you. After that, it even becomes a little bit easier as soon as you beat the droids. Ah, man! I was telling him he was easy, but no.
I'm trapped.
What did he say? I'm trapped? Yeah, I need to get to this. Oh, there it is. Oh well, this is the phase that's technically easier. They're shredded in the background, like going, "Oh, are you turtles? Tonight I dine on turtle soup." Actually, I don't even think he says that in this game. Sadly enough. Wow. I thought he was supposed to be easier than this. Huh? Maybe I'm misremembering. Come on. Maybe he's out of drones finally. I think it's when he's doing that bubble thing is when it's supposed to get easier, because if you can hit him in the center. Oh man! Well, I said I was going to lose a life possibly, so there you go. Quit laughing at me, Krang. Stop laughing at me, jerk. But yeah, if you can get him into this bubble phase where he tries to attack you the bubbles, if you get him in the center, like if you hit him in the man, if you get him in the center of the machine, you can get him. Yeah, see. Yeah, I think I remember there being a trick where you could like get him stuck or get him looped. You know, where he's stuck in like where you keep attacking him. But I think you have to activate the bubble mechanic of his or whatever. Ah, man. Should have moved. Ah, man, I keep falling for the trick.
I'm trapped.
Yeah, it looks like if you leave him to his own devices, he summons one of the droids. Oh, man! Man, I am sucking. There's 19, so we're pretty close to the mark.
I'm trapped.
To me, there's not much in the way of invincibility spheres in this game. Where, you know, when you die, you come back.
Our way home. Let's go.
You immediately. Oh, looks like he was blowing up there for a second, but like, well, I mean, he was, but he wasn't actually dead. He was just like. Arr.
Technodrome, the final shell shock.
1991. Ooh. Oh, in front of the Lady Liberty herself, Shredder. We meet for the first time for the last time. Wait, you got a lightsaber? I mean, a spear blade or I don't know, light stick. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, I don't remember ever having that in the comics or the game or the cartoon. But what do I know? Now in the I think in the console version, you fight. There's two forms of Shredder, I think. In the arcade, you only fight Shredder. You don't fight Super Shredder, which is weird because they had Tokar and Razar from number 2 in there, which is where Super Shredder comes. So you think they would have thrown that in too. Oop. You can kind of cheese this final boss out a little bit, but one of his abilities is when he shoots out like those rays or whatever, it actually like turns the turtles into turtles, like actual like baby turtles or whatever. Man, gotta not I might let myself get hit just to show you off that attack. Yeah, I forgot about that attack. Wow, we almost got we were working on that like this weekend movie. Huh? I could have swore Shredder was harder than this. Maybe I'm thinking of Super Shredder being the hardest one. Weird. Cause yeah, the fact I'm already got blinking is a big deal, already. I mean, I'm trying to not waste another quarter if I can, so I can get this under 20. I bet there's people that can easily do this in 1 quarter. I bet there has been. I wouldn't be surprised. Like I said, there are certain tricks in these old arcade games that can they can like kind of like manipulate the AI and want that to hit it multiple times. Wow. Like jump kick me into oblivion, dude. 20 it is then. Can we make it even 20 and not oh, I forgot to swap him out. Ah, whatever, that's fine. Everyone likes Mikey. I should have swapped him to Donnie just for the final bit or whatever. Oh yeah, and weirdly enough, if you're actually this game was also these turtles were also called Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles if you were in Europe, mainly Britain. And funny story, Michelangelo was relegated to like very few scenes in later seasons because apparently it's something to do with like nunchucks or something like that. I don't know if some kid got hurt with nunchucks or whatever, but Mikey was like in later seasons, wherever you watched it at, was cut out of a lot of scenes because of his weapon. If he didn't have his weapon, then he wouldn't be on scene. But if he was wielding something else like a grappling hook or something like that, which I think they even did that in the show, even in the American version, I think his weapon did change because of that. Oh man, I'm sucking at this last part. I thought I was doing well there for a second, but nope. Wow, 20. That life was terrible. Man, 21. Well, I guess you could say I got close to the. Oh yeah, and range doesn't really work here because Shredder has the same range as Donatello. Ow. It's weird how many hits you can actually get on Shredder before he actually counterattacks you sometimes, depending on where. You know, I never realized, I realized this before, but Shredder's design is kind of goofy when you think about it. It's almost like some emo kid who went to shop at Hot Topic or something like that, or went to the hardware store to like get a cool outfit or something like that. I mean, look at that, he's just got metal plating on random spots. Now I guess you could say, oh, this could be used for close quarters combat. I'm like, I guess. Although I think the Turtles were kind of a parody on superheroes at the time, so maybe it's a parody of another villain or something like that. Now who? I don't know. Okay. I was hoping that we could like keep that pattern going. Man. Come on. I don't know why I keep saying every time I get hit. It's not like I'm personally getting hit by this. 22. Okay, maybe we're getting it under $6 then. Although perhaps probably not the best person, but we almost got him. I'm probably not doing this fight. I'm probably not cheesing this fight like I could. At this point, I think I'm just spam attacking at this point. You almost have to kind of get close to him. Oh, there he goes. Bye, Shredder.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, our 4 reptilian heroes, have overcome the arch villain Shredder.
Did he say arc villain? Or she say arc villain? I do like the fact that they did have voicing in this, but perhaps about to get knocked out there. But yeah, that's TMNT, the arcade version by Konami. It's still a good game. I didn't think. I mean, I said it was cheap, but I didn't think it was too bad overall. And yeah, you could be in like less than an hour, and I I thought it was a fun game, had enough characters in from the franchise, although obviously the consoles would add a few more characters, or at least put them in the right spots on like the arcade version. But it's still an enjoyable experience, definitely worth checking out. I don't know if you can find this original play. Oh, Imizumi, huh? I think he did a good job with the music on this. Yeah, I don't think you can find this game legit anywhere without going through like vendors or something like that, or at least with the console one, you could probably find a used vendor for that, or something like that. And I think you can, and I know you can legitimately buy the redone game or whatever, but that one's kind of crappy compared to this, mainly because of the music. So, but yeah, thanks Inui, and thank you Konami, when you used to make good games at the time.
Big Apple, 3 a.m.
There it goes. That's the Big Apple 3 a.m. thing. Yeah, for some reason when I started the game up, it didn't play that part. Oh, I actually can show you what happens if you when you ignore a shredder. I'm gonna go on my own time. I'm doing my outro. Calm down. Well, wait, are you getting bigger? What the? This is a radical rat. Holy cow! Stop that! Stop it! No! And you get insta-killed if you don't hurry up. That's kind of dumb. And it's gonna happen. I'm just gonna let them kill me because the game's over. So, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed my playthrough of this with my how many quarters. I don't know how often I'll do these, obviously, but I think it's fun to just try and play these old arcade games and see how well I can beat these without like popping in quarters. Although it seems like I'm like everyone else, where I'll just start spamming the attack button after certain points because I forget about strategy. And I haven't like hacked these games or anything like that, so I don't know like AI mechanics and all this other stuff. But I think it's fun to just do this every once in a while and just do one recording of an old arcade game for something that maybe didn't get to play these back in the day as I did. If anyway, it's a trip down memory lane. So I'll let the game kill me and finish off from there. So I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time with a handful of more quarters. Oh, right, before we... Oh, that would have been a great outro. Let's show our score. 574, huh? Let's see what the best score is on the default board. 375, huh? I beat you, Jen! I beat you at your own game! Yeah! Alright, well anyway, see y'all later, folks.
Pizza Pie!